Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about casino cups. For those of you who don't know what it is a Ask blog run by, I think the user is BrightGoat. I know that's their username on YouTube. It might be their username on Tumblr, I'm not sure. But Shaft Media Productions does an excellent dub of this Ask blog, so I would highly recommend watching it. This is going to be yet another psychoanalysis, so I'm just going to put out my usual disclaimer. I am in no way a psychologist, not a mental health professional, can't diagnose these characters unless the creator themselves steps up and says this is exactly what they're dealing with, yada yada, you know. So the main topic I'm going to be focusing on in this psychoanalysis is how they both respond to grief, in specifics, Elder Kettle's passing. It's no secret that Elder Kettle very much cared for Cuphead and Mugman and treated them both as his children. They looked up to him as a father figure. They were family. Even the Devil and King Dice, in their very few interactions with him, state that he is a great man. You know, he has a wonderful heart. Now, being this father figure for Cuphead and Mugman, he very clearly became their, role model, and because he was seen as such a lovable person, you know, he had this aura of purity almost around him. I feel like they really felt pressured to live like him and kind of be like him. And that's why I feel like in this specific panel, Cuphead and Mugman are experiencing this kind of guilt and working at the casino because they knew that Elder Kettle would have never wanted them to be there, and I feel they feel guilty for that. As they mentioned, Elder Kettle passed away long before they would have ever considered working at the casino. Now, when asked if they ever spend time to visit Elder Kettle's grave, there is a very noticeable difference between how Cuphead reacts to this versus how Mugman reacts to this. Mugman, he's very informative, unafraid to tell the truth. You know, he says, we should probably visit more. We haven't visited in a long time, but we know that there are people looking over it. Cuphead's response is almost self-defense. He's very angry, doesn't want to open up, very bitter. It's very clear to us that it's hard for him to move on. So I found an article by Washington University explaining in pretty good detail the stages of grief, one of which is anger, which I feel Cuphead is experiencing. Looking at it at face value, we can see he's irritable. We can see he's a little sarcastic. We can see he's kind of being passive-aggressive here. And so we can see this kind of anger feels like frustration, impatience, resentment, embarrassment, rage, and this feeling of losing control. Now, knowing Cuphead's character, he's very brash, very impulsive. He's usually getting into all sorts of trouble, doesn't really think things out before he does it. Elder Kettle, being this father figure and also this very wise, responsible old man, was always there to kind of hold Cuphead back and keep him from doing anything brash, which is why, the moment Cuphead and Mugman are on their own and they go to the casino for the first time, they get their souls scrambled away. And while yes, Mugman kind of still is there to be that restraining force to kind of hold him back, it's not the same. And this feeling of kind of having lost that sense of control because nobody's there to hold him back anymore, he doesn't know what to do with that. And so he translates it into anger and expresses it as anger. And I think it's really safe to say that Cuphead is in a very intense stage of denial, especially at the beginning when they just dealt with Elder Kettle's passing. Mugman states that it's like his brother refused to move on, further insinuating that he was in an intense stage of denial. Now it seems obviously that he has shifted more towards anger, which is a very natural progression through the stages of grief. However, he's still very much in the early stages of grief, So it's very clear to me that he's having trouble really accepting what's happened. But while Cuphead was pretty easy to read, it gets really difficult trying to figure out what's going on with Mugman. Mugman states that he hates the unpredictability of death. He hates the unpredictability of life. He hates that there are curveballs, and he started comparing himself to the immortals. He's trying to learn all this knowledge. He's trying to bring back their powers that have since faded in an attempt to bring back some sense of safety. He's gonna do anything at this point to make sure that him and Cuphead are safe and secure. And I mean, while we know that Mugman is a very intelligent individual, likes to learn things, this is extreme, even for him. Now, after some digging, I've finally come to the conclusion that Mugman is in the bargaining stage of grief. I thought maybe it would have been denial, but his behavior seems more like bargaining. Mugman very much, he overthinks things a lot. He's very much a perfectionist, which I think has been amplified further by the loss of Elder Kettle. And I feel like he's just comparing himself to these immortals, trying to gain as much knowledge as possible. And I feel like he feels responsible for Cuphead, and he feels like he has to rule the roost now and take charge. And that's causing him to feel really insecure about himself. It's causing him to feel like, things are all his fault. He should have taken better care of Elder Kettle. He should have, done this and that. Even though he says that, these things happen, like, I've accepted it. He's very clearly in this bargaining stage of grief. And I feel like during this specific part of the comic is really where we start to see where Mugman is in dealing with the grief. And yeah, it is kind of clear here that Mugman's kind of letting out his pent-up emotions when it comes to the traumatic experiences him and Cuphead endured in collecting the contracts for the devil. Like I mentioned before, he talks about that unpredictability of life, and his main goal is to get that immortality, so him and Cuphead don't have to worry about death anymore. And I feel like that really speaks on Elder Kettle's passing, and not the fact that they died a bunch of times and came back again, because they knew they would just keep coming back. But with Elder Kettle's not coming back, and so that is their first experience with proper death and life's unpredictability, and that is what is really setting Mugman off, I feel. Yeah, I feel that about wraps up how they're dealing with that kind of grief. It is a subplot in the full plot of Casino Cup, so if you want to learn more about these fellows, these little guys, please do check out the Shouse Media Productions dub, subscribe to their channel, and also subscribe to Bright Goat's channel, because they're awesome, and they're a talented and amazing artist and storyteller. Feel free to leave any other theories you may have in the comment section below. This is just a little theory I have on how they're doing. A game theory! But yeah, please feel free to like and subscribe if you did like this and enjoy it. And yeah, slay besties, slay all day, slay all night, wherever you are. Love you. Mwah.